Instead, they have spread their diseases like in Middle Ages, Turkish Empire did. Now Americans have spread their diseases as well to other continents. And all thanks to our European friends, fellows, which have chosen basically, as now you, I'm sure, understand, simply betray their own nations for sake of self-profitability, egoism, regardless of consequences which have taken place afterwards. Everything with deliberate intention to destroy Europe and our European people, everything in the name of so-called humanism. That's why I was telling you about how it is important, how much importance it is when it comes to European heritage, European history, whenever you referring to humanism. The indoctrination on how basically to wipe us out have developed as a result the culture, so-called anarchy, confusion, and insanity type of culture about which we are talking about. Those involved in it are naturally people of education professions, government workers, and afterwards all other services, or such as medical, retail, industry, etc. On whatever our lives basically depend on daily basis, you will find this kind of people pretty much everywhere. Now, the education institutions such as colleges and universities are actually one of the primary sources, the nests of today's failures, the nests of evil and crime, the pure nests of hate and lies spread among our people against our own people. Lies spread to us by pedophiles, homosexuals, and 100% people whose mental issues are extremely limited to themselves only, regardless of consequences for other people. Only sick, impotent extremists who disgrace and belittle, scorn the will of own ancestors, which have shed basically, of our own ancestors, which have basically shed blood for us over thousands of years in order to keep us safe, clean, and instill in us traditional European values to help us survive in this ruthless world, can perform such crimes. Crimes that nobody sane would ever dare to even think about. The humanists yet? The garbagers, the humanists have managed to find a way to destroy Europe. Europe, which is invaded now instead more than just from Turkish side. Turkey, United States of America, Asia, not to fail to mention Africa, and South America, entire world if you like. And don't allow, please, don't allow anybody to tell you how, in respect to history, it was okay for Turks to invade eastern part of Europe because so it would help the western part of the Europe. You know, because it's really not going to do anything for you when today this past coincidence really have nothing to do with the present situation which is taking place by any means. Meaning you're turning into something against what I have just mentioned, or will of your ancestors, or basically what was given to you by God and nature. It's not going to basically do anything and good for you. I guarantee you that. I can tell you that. It doesn't do any good for you. And nor teachings, or having, telling people things against their own cultures, teaching people to hate their own cultures, like place basically have taken case in what is Scandinavia, when this university teachers, these professors, these nests of evil have come up with the idea to tell kids basically that their ancestors have actually slaughtered their own daughters versus boys upon the births and stuff like that. That is not doing basically any good for anybody. I think that Scandinavian people are absolutely beautiful, the most beautiful people in the world. I have never seen fathers taking so much pride and so much love for their families, and I absolutely love these people. I commend them for everything. The only thing they have the right to be is to be proud of yourself and of their ancestry, nothing else. So let's continue. And how was it done? How is it possible to be done even despite our fundamental beliefs and values instilled in us for such betrayals to take place? How is it possible? How have that even happened? How could that ever happen? Ever wondered why America is so fat, obese? Well, obesity prevents human from functioning normally, and tends to direct one's mind into perversion. The thinking process becomes highly limited, and therefore as soon as victims would want to improve their quality of life, they are simply drowned into ocean of pain and sorrow, destroyed by unemployment, or I should say forced joblessness. It helps, folks, believe me, it helps. All this forced joblessness, obesity, all this, it helps. It helps because without those obesities, let me tell you that, without those obesities, the integration of abnormalities, what are real abnormalities, would be completely impossible. Impossible again, the integration of abnormalities would be otherwise completely impossible. Unnatural, impossible, and entirely rejected. Remember, in a world where everything is in order, where everything is in place, it is impossible to steer people to follow like blind sheep and then afterwards jump into precipice. This is why the anarchy, like the one which we witness today, is taking place. Anarchy which is taking place already since 70s. Reason? So people are jumping into precipice while nobody knows anything about it. This is so-called democracy in which we live in.
The perfect example of humanists in Europe are what are known as alternative societies, for instance, because the alternative societies are those that offer really alternative to normal life, to what we have basically inherited from our ancestors.